The rain battered the window like fists, each drop a sharp accusation that echoed the ache in my chest. I stood frozen in our cramped living room, the air thick with the sour tang of spilled wine and her perfume jasmine sharp enough to cut. Sarah's voice still hung there, vicious and final. "If you can't trust me, Ethan, go sleep on the street." Her words weren't just a dismissal. They were a guillotine, severing the fragile thread of faith I'd clung to for months. My hands shook as I gripped the edge of the couch, the fabric rough under my palms, anchoring me against the vertigo of her betrayal. It wasn't the first time we'd fought about her late nights, her evasions, the way her phone glowed in her hand like a secret she couldn't wait to unravel. But tonight was different. Tonight I'd seen the text. Just a glimpse, her screen lighting up on the kitchen counter. A name I didn't know. "Meet me at 9?" Before she snatched it away, her eyes darting like a cornered animal's. I'd asked, voice steady despite the tremor in my gut, who it was. She'd laughed, a brittle sound, and said it was just a coworker. But her fingers tightened around the phone, and her smile didn't reach her eyes. I wanted to believe her. God, I did. Sarah was the woman who'd laughed with me over burnt pancakes on lazy Sundays, who'd traced constellations on my back when nightmares tore me awake. She was my anchor, my home, until she wasn't. The doubts had crept in slowly like cracks in a foundation, her sudden need for space, the way she'd flinch when I touched her, the perfume she wore only when she left for work drinks. I'd rationalized it all, stress, maybe, or her new promotion demanding more of her time. But that text, those 3 words, had shattered the lies I'd told myself. "Ethan, you're paranoid," she'd snapped, her voice slicing through the haze of my thoughts. She stood by the kitchen counter, arms crossed, her auburn hair catching the dim light like a halo she didn't deserve. "You think I'm sneaking around? Fine. Leave. I don't need this." Her words were a dare, but her eyes flickered with something else, guilt maybe or fear. I couldn't tell. My heart pounded, a drumbeat of rage and heartbreak, urging me to demand answers, to tear the truth from her. But I didn't. I just stood there, drowning in the silence that followed. The apartment felt smaller now, the walls pressing in, the air heavy with the ghosts of our laughter. I grabbed my coat, the leather cold against my skin, and stepped into the storm. The rain soaked me instantly, plastering my hair to my forehead, blurring the streetlights into smears of gold. I didn't know where I was going, only that I couldn't stay in that suffocating space, where every glance at her felt like a betrayal of my own instincts. The street was a blur of wet asphalt and the distant hum of traffic. My shoes squelched with every step, the cold seeping into my bones. I thought of her face, the way her lips had trembled when she told me to leave. Was it anger? Or was she hiding something worse? The questions clawed at me, each one a fresh wound. I'd loved her fiercely, blindly, and now I was adrift, a man unmoored by the suspicion that the person I'd built my world around was a stranger. A light flickered in the brownstone across the street. Mrs. Callahan, our neighbor, stood in her doorway, her silhouette framed by the warm glow of her porch. She was older, maybe 60, with a sharp gaze that missed nothing. "Ethan," she called, her voice cutting through the rain's rhythm. "You look like a drowned cat. Come here." I hesitated, the weight of my pride battling the chill sinking into my skin. But her tone was firm, maternal, and I crossed the street, water dripping from my jacket onto her porch. "Sarah and we fought," I muttered, the words tasting bitter. I didn't want to admit how lost I felt, how her words had gutted me. Mrs. Callahan's eyes softened, but there was a knowing edge to them. "I heard," she said, stepping aside to let me in. "Walls are thin around here. Come on, I've got a bed for you." Her living room smelled of lavender and old books, a stark contrast to the chaos I'd left behind. She handed me a towel, her movements brisk but kind. "You don't have to talk," she said. "But I've seen enough of you two to know something's been off for a while." Her words hit like a punch I didn't see coming. I sank onto her couch, the towel damp in my hands, and stared at the faded rug under my feet. "What do you mean?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. My heart raced, dreading her answer but needing it all the same. She sighed, settling into an armchair across from me. "Sarah's been different. Coming home late, always on that phone. Last week I saw her with someone, a man outside the deli on 4th. They weren't just talking, Ethan. There was a look between them." Her voice was gentle but each word was a blade. carving away the last of my denial. I wanted to argue, to call it a mistake, but the image burned into me. Sarah, her laugh bright for someone else, her hand brushing his arm. The pieces clicked together. The late nights, the locked phone, the way she'd pull away from my touch. My stomach churned, bile rising in my throat. Why didn't you tell me? I asked, my voice cracking. Mrs. Callahan's face tightened with regret. I didn't want to meddle. But tonight, hearing her, I couldn't let you wander out there alone. She leaned forward, her eyes searching mine. You deserve better than lies, Ethan. The truth was a weight I couldn't carry. I thought of confronting Sarah, of demanding the name behind that text, but the thought made me sick. What if she admitted it? What if she didn't? Either way, the trust we'd built was ash, scattered by her secrets. I buried my face in my hands, the towel's rough texture grounding me as grief and anger warred inside me. Hours passed, the rain slowing to a drizzle. Mrs. Callahan brought me tea, its warmth a small comfort against the cold hollow in my chest. I replayed every moment with Sarah, searching for the moment I'd lost her. Was it my fault? Had I been too distant, too trusting? The questions looped, endless and unanswered. Then a knock at the door. My heart lurched. Mrs. Callahan opened it, and there was Sarah, soaked and shivering, her eyes red-rimmed. Ethan, she said, her voice breaking. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Come home. I stood, my legs unsteady, torn between the love I still felt and the betrayal I couldn't unsee. Her tears were real, but so was the text, the man, the lies. Who is he? I asked, my voice low, trembling with the weight of the question. Her face crumpled, and in that moment I knew. She didn't answer, didn't need to. The silence was louder than any confession. I turned away, the room spinning, and Mrs. Callahan's hand on my shoulder was the only thing keeping me upright. I can't, I said, the words tearing free like a wound reopening. Not now. Maybe not ever. Sarah's sob followed me as I walked deeper into Mrs. Callahan's house, away from the life I'd known, toward a truth I wasn't ready to face. The rain had stopped, but the storm inside me was just beginning.